She was young, intelligent, and deeply devoted to Allah. Yet there came a moment when the messenger of Allah, the most compassionate of men, considered divorcing her. Why? What could possibly make the Prophet, who was the pinnacle of mercy, think of such a painful decision? This is the untold story of Hafsa bint Umar, the daughter of Umar ibn al-Khattab, the fierce lion of Islam, a woman whose story teaches us about trust, human emotion, and divine wisdom. But before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever made a decision in anger, only to realize later it was a test from Allah? Keep that thought in your heart, because as this story unfolds, you'll see how even the most beloved of Allah faced trials that carried lessons for all of humanity. Hafsa's life began with both privilege and pain. She was born into one of the most powerful families in Quraysh. Her father was Umar ibn al-Khattab, known for his strength, his temper, and his unwavering faith. But Hafsa, R.A., wasn't just her father's daughter. She was a woman of intellect. She could read and write when most Arab women couldn't. Her heart was fiery like her father's, yet pure in its love for Allah. At a young age, she married a devoted Muslim named Kunais ibn Hudayfa. Together, they migrated to Medina for the sake of Islam, but fate struck hard. Kunais fell ill after the Battle of Badr, and Hafsa became a widow. Can you imagine the silence of her home after that? The loneliness of a woman who had given everything for Allah's cause, and now had nothing left? Her father Umar was heartbroken. He wanted to find her a husband who could honor her, someone noble, someone strong. He approached Abu Bakr, R.A. Silence. Then he asked Uthman, R.A. Again silence. Umar was hurt. Why won't anyone marry my daughter? He thought. But Allah had something greater planned, something no one could have imagined. Soon after, the Prophet Muhammad himself proposed to Hafsa. Imagine Umar's tears of joy. The messenger of Allah, the most honored man alive, would now be family. But this wasn't a marriage of luxury or ease. The Prophet's household was not like that of kings. It was a home of simplicity, worship, and sacrifice. And among his wives, Aisha, Sauda, Zainab, Salama, Hafsa entered with her own unique personality. She was sharp, intelligent, outspoken. Sometimes a bit too outspoken. Let's be honest, if you've ever had a fiery personality, you probably would have gotten along with Hafsa. But that fire sometimes burns both ways. And it was that very spark that would soon ignite one of the most painful moments in the Prophet's household. The story begins with a secret. One day the Prophet confided something to Hafsa, a private matter between husband and wife. He trusted her with this knowledge and told her not to share it with anyone. But Hafsa, in a moment of emotion, or perhaps wanting to discuss it with someone close, shared that secret with Aisha. And when the Prophet came to know, he was deeply grieved, not angry like a man of the world, but saddened because trust had been broken. Imagine the weight of that moment. The messenger of Allah, betrayed not by enemies, but by those he loved most. And then the verses of Surah At-Tahrim were revealed. When the Prophet confided a secret to one of his wives, and she disclosed it, and Allah made it known to him, he informed part of it and overlooked a part. 66-2 rule. These verses weren't just about a private matter. They were a divine reminder. Even the Prophet's household was not free from human weakness, and even mistakes within it carried lessons for all believers. But the situation didn't end there. Tension grew in the Prophet's household. Among his wives, jealousy existed, not out of hatred but out of love. And Hafsa, being the daughter of Umar, had a strong will. At times, she spoke sharply, or questioned the Prophet in ways that reflected her father's fearless spirit. But there came a day when things reached a breaking point. The Prophet, heart heavy with sorrow, made the decision to separate from Hafsa. He decided to divorce her. Yes, the Prophet of mercy, who wept for the Ummah at night, now faced heartbreak within his own home. Can you feel the weight of that? Imagine being told, "You are no longer the wife of the messenger of Allah." For Hafsa, it must have felt like her world collapsed. News of the divorce spread. Umar R.A. was devastated. He rushed to the Prophet, his eyes filled with tears, and then something extraordinary happened. The angel Jibril alayhi salam descended with a message from Allah. He said, "Take Hafsa back, for she fasts often and prays in the night, and she will be your wife in paradise." Subhanallah. Just think about that. A divine message straight from the heavens, defending a woman whose heart had erred, but whose faith was sincere. If that's not the most powerful reconciliation text in history, I don't know what is. The Prophet immediately took her back. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was built on mercy, forgiveness, and divine approval. Now you might wonder, why would Allah allow such pain, even for His beloved Prophet? Because through this, Allah was teaching us something timeless, that even the purest relationships face tests. That love is not always peace, sometimes it's patience. And that forgiveness is among the highest forms of worship. The story of Hafsa isn't just about a marriage, it's about mercy beyond measure. She was human. She made mistakes. But she also repented, prayed, and remained steadfast. After the Prophet's passing, Hafsa R.A. became one of the guardians of the Quran. It was her copy of the Quran, written by Zayd ibn Thabit, that was used by Caliph Uthman, Shri, to compile the official Mushaf. So think about it. The same woman once on the verge of divorce became a guardian of Allah's book. Isn't that the mercy of Allah? Turning pain into purpose and mistakes into milestones. Let me ask you again, have you ever felt like you failed Allah? Like you made a mistake so big He could never forgive you? Then remember Hafsa. Remember that Allah's mercy found her even at her lowest. And it can find you too, also. If you ever think your marriage is complicated, just remember, even the Prophet's home had drama. So next time your spouse forgets the milk, maybe cut them some slack. Because love, in its truest form, is forgiveness. Every story in the life of the Prophet carries a message for us. And the story of Hafsa teaches three profound truths. Trust is sacred. Once broken, it wounds deeply, but forgiveness can heal it. Even the righteous are tested. Trials don't mean Allah is angry. They mean He's refining your soul. Mercy is the foundation of faith. Allah's mercy reaches those who never give up on Him. And perhaps the most beautiful part, even after all the pain, the Prophet called Hafsa his wife in Jannah. That's not just love, that's eternal grace. But here's the deeper question. If the Prophet's household faced such trials, what about the one who vowed to destroy all divine peace? Before Shaitan ever whispered to humanity, before the first sin was committed, there was Iblis, a being once counted among the righteous, who fell from grace in the most shocking way. And in my next video, we'll uncover that story, the shocking truth about Iblis before he became Shaitan, because understanding his fall helps us understand how to guard our own hearts. If you found peace or reflection in this story, make sure to watch that video next. It's appearing on your screen right now. Trust me, it'll open your eyes to a truth you've never heard before. Never heard before.